Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. I'm like not ready to go today yet. I'm just having all sorts of issues this morning. So let's see here. I'm still like Ninja Trader is doing weird stuff to me. Hold on. Like, I'm getting data. Jigsaw is working and doing stuff. But like none of my charts in Ninja Trader are loading. What the hell? Oh, wait. Let's turn on the music. That'll help. I need to try restart Ninja Trader. I don't know what the deal is, but like none of the charts are loading. And also, this light won't turn on. There we go. What's that? Okay, so we're about to get like the PCE prices and U.S. initial jobless claims come in here. Here we go. The market's definitely pulled for this. This is why it's good to have, you know, Ninja Trader and Jigsaw working separately from each other. Okay, well, jobless claims lower than expected. And that might push us down a little bit. GDP 1.3. PCE prices 5, a little higher than expected. This is kind of a difficult call what those economic numbers mean, but I think it's slightly tilted to hawkish. I don't know. It's still doing it. It's just like it's not loading any charts. That's so weird. I'm also getting from Jigsaw issues. Journalytics can't check the account properly. So it won't let me use my sim accounts. Under these circumstances, I really can't take a trade. So, oh yeah, it's got to be something on my machine, right? Let me try just opening up a new chart. It is so weird. Maybe something horrible is going to happen. Don't give them ideas, Walter. Don't give them ideas. I'm telling you, this is I see this. I'm saying this every freaking day. I'll be watching TikTok, scrolling along, and they'll be like, next thing you know, they're gonna be doing X, Y, and I'm like, stop giving them ideas. I think my connection, well, like I can access the internet just fine, it appears. Let's just pull up Reddit here. Reddit loads up fine. Oh look, I have a message. Did somebody say something dumb? Oh, are you my connections window? It shows it says live. My rhythmic. Let's look at, are there any log messages? Connection lost to the NinjaTrader historical data server. So maybe Rhythmic is having a problem with historical data this for me. Oh, that could, because you are not on Rhythmic, Uzi. So that might explain it. That's okay. We don't need the charts. Yearly order flow here. Boom, bada boom. 3.75. That's where we were yesterday. Cool. A little bit of a, maybe a little bit of a hole at 03. Rip. Well, and like the thing is my market analyzer works. Like, see, you go over there. See, the market analyzer works. It's just it can't pull up any of the charts. I really think that Rhythmic's historical data server is down. Okay, I guess another thing we could do to test to ensure that it truly is Rhythmic is to try and open up a chart on Jigsaw. Let's see here. We're on June, right? Yep. Okay. Oh no! Wait. That's I'm looking at the wrong one. ZNM. That's right. Okay. Hold the boats. Hold the boats. It loaded. I'll rip that one guy that watches the stream for my turn. Okay, good question. I am on 8017, something like that. Let's see here. Oh, 80271. 80271. Yeah, okay, let's try it. I downloaded it the other day. I think I downloaded it the other day. I don't know. Let's look in my downloads. I should be careful about showing you what I've downloaded recently. You'll see all the porn I've been looking at. And now look, there it is. 8028. Yeah. I sure download a lot of VSTs. Oh, that one is theirs for HP. Oh my gosh, guys. I tried to print something yesterday. I tried to print the heads for like doing the Republican nomination. And I could not get the freaking printer to work for never get an HP printer, man. It's been like this for decades. It's just stupid. It just like doesn't work. They're especially their wireless. So then like I tried connecting it via USB and that was allowed me to get it to where you know, I could actually print something. I had to move my printer from over there to over here next to my computer. And then it ran out of ink. It printed two of them and it ran out of ink. So dumb. I need to go to like you know, Alpha Graphics or whatever and print it. Right, but that's CQG. Did something change in Rhythmic and the NinjaTrader is not up to date with it? I think it could be. I'm wondering if my NinjaTrader is just permanently hosed now. Because it loaded just fine over here in Jigsaw. Right. I do kind of really like to have cumulative delta. So let's see here. Oh, that's the cumulative sheep index. That's not what we want. We just want, no, cancel. Cancel. We want indicators. JT cumulative delta. Reset on new session, show sessions. Okay. McCarthy is speaking to reporters at the moment, so be advised. Now that's interesting. When I reloaded it with cumulative delta, it's not showing me as much historical data. So it is possible that Jigsaw is experiencing the issue as well. Now, does it not give me like a 64-bit and a 32-bit version of it anymore? I guess not. That version gives me the new icon though. At least the icon in the start menu is different. That's all. It's all 64-bit now. Okay, so I am definitely seeing some volatility in the markets, presumably off of McCarthy's comments here. When I got the alert, I was like, yeah, well, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, right? Because at first I was like, oh no. But then I realized that they created new versions of like the pre 8.1 as well. So they weren't like really forcing anybody to do anything. I really think this is unrelated. Oh, I'm noticing that I think that the resolution of the little NinjaTrader logo up in the upper left has changed. That's weird. Okay, so now it says connection lost to the NinjaTrader historical data server. Connection last to the historical data. Blah, 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 blah. That doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna do it. Well, but we can get the cumulative delta from Jigsaw, right? So let's come in here and change a few things. So I don't want candles. I want bars, and I want 1 minute bars. Try that. Oh, not actually. Bars is not actually what I want. What do I want? Color to high-low close bar, maybe? No. Baseline, that must probably be like, yeah, line. And I think step is kind of the ones that are kind of like all jiggy-jaggy, yeah. What is the difference between line and vertex line? Oh, it has the little circles at each point. Color bar. Ah. Wow, you're already done, man? NP support says try clearing your DNS. What? Wait, where did you see that? You searched for that and that came up? I think you just have to go with candle. But I hate the candles where you get all of these little tells, you know? Like you asked NinjaTrader 8 support, or like you found on their website this error? Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna move that over there, and I'm gonna close down NinjaTrader without saving the workspace. I might be crazy, but I swear that oh wait, it started to load something. Oh wait. Oh, what? Yeah, I'm gonna clear the DNS anyways. Let's see here. I don't know the command to do that. It's like something ipconfig / oh yeah, okay, ipconfig / flush DNS. Oh, I can do that over here. I can do that over here. Okay. Restart the PC. Well, I don't want to do that. Dude, wait. So what did I miss while all this was going on here? Did McCarthy coming in and negotiators have made some progress. There are some issues outstanding. Negotiators have made blah 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 blah. Not everyone will be happy with the deal. I have instructed negotiators to work 24 hours a day to get it. Wow, okay. It's down to details now. So it sounds like they feel like that they're close though. So that is probably why the treasuries are selling so hard. Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Okay, so now everything is... Oh, dude, it fixed the problem. Oh, that's so weird. Okay. Okay, whatever. But, so now we can see here that we had like a little bit of a downturn off of the news, and then McCarthy started speaking, and it whoosh. It went whoosh whoosh. So this is a tough one because it's hard for me to know what would be like a justified news based on what we're getting from him. It does seem to me that those comments from McCarthy are significant. When I heard him speaking yesterday, I was kind of like, it doesn't seem like a big deal. Now I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna get this done. So if we get this done well before the deadline and they get a deal, what are the political ramifications of this? I mean, I think that McCarthy and Republicans end up faring pretty... I mean, those would be the best they've done from a debt ceiling deal. Of course, we have to see what's in the deal, but this would probably be their best outing on this whole what do we call it, stratagem or whatever. Does Biden get a boost for making a deal too? I mean, in the end, he really should have started negotiating like a long time ago. And he did basically give in, but giving in and getting a deal done maybe is positive for him. So does everybody win in this instance? I really wonder. Could be interesting. See, like, this is not stopping. We've already gone 10 basis points. Holy shnikes, guys. No, we've been... No. It's not 10 basis points. It's already been... we were 375, so 378 is three basis points so far. Okay, there is a big old monster iceberg at 22 halves, so that might pause things for a little bit. I can kind of see that characteristic curve coming in, so... Okay, so I want to do one more thing here because it looks like Jigsaw's having issues with its licensing server again. Let's see if I just come into the options and click OK. Does that get it to recheck? No. How do you force it? How do you force it to try and log in? Maybe resend trade stats under tools. Get oh, now look at 2 year, we're well past. Oh no, well past 4.5, just right. 4.5 is right in the middle. But look, it's coming back there. I don't know. Like this is the thing. Of course, the deal isn't like done. There's still a chance that like they come back and they're like, oh, we couldn't get over our few tiny little remaining details, sort of a thing. But let's just assume that the deal gets done. Okay, the deal gets done. That to me was like the only thing preventing treasuries from moving to 4%, you know? I don't know. Well, I think that we're in an okay place where I can try and restart Jigsaw just to check. So I will do that. Oh, is that really the case? Forex Live says the debt ceiling has been raised 78 times since 1960. I don't know. This one I think was very different in terms of like, I think the chances of them defaulting was much higher this time. When Biden acquiesced and like negotiations started, though, that was, you know, that, I don't know what you want to say, helped. Okay. So the size of the order flow off of this is not actually that big, considering what appears to me to be a significant change. I have never heard of Larry. No, maybe I have. I gotta tell you, you read so much stuff, and it's just. You notice that I kind of have like this reflex when somebody gives a name. I'm like, oh, somebody's taking credit for like the market itself, you know? Like, to me, I don't give a shit about people. What I care about is like, can we prove that the market's actually doing something? Well, there is seasonal behavior in markets. Yes. There are seasonal flows. I'm not so sure that the seasonal flows are too terribly important today, but just remember we're getting really close to rollover here in the treasuries, and that's something that's likely to have an impact. So you could have some flows in the treasuries because of that. I don't know if it would affect the S&P 500, but the thing that you got to think about with the seasonality is you need to think about orders, not price. Okay, so if you're trying to look at the seasonality of price, it's kind of nice. I mean, you can kind of get some stuff from that, but really what you want to look at is the seasonality of the orders, right? Because we're coming into the rollover. What kind of flows do you see because of that? That's what I'd be looking at, right? Because once you have the orders, then you can combine that with the other information that we're getting, right? Debt ceiling resolution. Figure out where the market's going to go, right? There's 60% rolled already. Wow. Okay. I think that did it. Oh, let's see. That's so dangerous. I don't have like orders turned off on these other instruments. I'm just gonna fix that really quick here for a second, and then I'll switch the screen back over. We'll leave that one. Okay. I'm over here like, be careful where you click. You don't want to accidentally enter a trade into the 30-year here. That would be not fun. Okay, that one I'll allow orders. Okay. S, 7S. Okay. We're good. What? Breaking. Biden Department of Justice to indict Trump over Mar-a-Lago investigation. That's an odd headline to show up today. Don't you think? Wow, Andorran's oil hedge fund slump worsens to 46% after Maple should have listened to the Saudis. Should have listened to them. I don't know, man. I don't trade oil, but every time I see one of those news headlines where the Saudis are like, those speculators, they probably better be careful. I'm like, oh snap. Here it comes. They really don't want that guy to read Trump. I think so. I mean, I think that really in the last, I mean, this has been an ongoing thing, but I really think in the last 3 months, and then especially in the last month in particular, we've seen a bit of a shift in attitude among Americans, right? And the shift that I am starting to see among Americans is this distrust in the foreign policy and intelligence apparatus of the United States has become widespread. I saw this kind of thing yesterday where they were doing congressional hearings, and one of the congressmen was asking a top guy in the FBI about the was it Horowitz report, and the guy was like, "Oh, I haven't even read it," and I just thought that was so stunning. Like, okay, like you guys are being accused of trying to manipulate elections in the United States, and you don't even care. Like, you didn't even listen to it. And at this point, certainly among Republicans, but I think even among independents, and it's starting to spread to Democrats, that people do not trust. They think that, you know, if the CIA wants a particular president in or whatever, that they will do things to manipulate the election in the direction that they want it to go. This is a widespread belief now at this point, right? And so now you get back to Donald Trump. Well, like, look, Donald Trump is like so, he's just so upset about this whole thing, right? Because he thinks that his entire, well, I mean, it's not that he thinks, I think it's true. His entire administration was undermined by the intelligence agencies, right? It was this issue that dogged the administration the whole time and really harmed his policy and prevented them from getting things done, right? And then on top of that, he also thinks that the election was stolen. Unfortunately, I don't see enough evidence to support the case that it was stolen. There's a lot of stuff that I wish they had looked into, but oh well. Without actually seeing the evidence, I can't say that it was stolen, right? You know, so if Donald Trump gets in, he's going to be a wrecking ball, man. He is. He is going to gut the CIA and the FBI, won't he? He is, whoever's in charge over there, they're going to get taken out. There's going to be all of these things. So then Uzi says he won't get in. Well, if you're the FBI and the CIA and you're still willing to manipulate elections for your benefit, then absolutely you're going to prevent Donald Trump from getting in, aren't you? Aren't you? And, you know, to me, to come in and say, well, Donald Trump is probably going to lose the election because the CIA will fight against him seems like a pretty spectacular conspiracy theory thing to say. And the scary thing is that it doesn't seem all that ridiculous anymore. If I worked for one of those intelligence agencies, I would be extremely concerned about the trust that they have lost among the American public. Because, you know, these do important things in our society. Okay, there are major threats out there. I find it very unfortunate that there are a couple of people there in the agencies that decided to act in a partisan manner. It's just a very disappointing thing, right? DeSantis will get the nomination and handedly lose to Biden. Oh man, that's okay. That seems like very that is like one of the most outside the beltway majority political opinion that I've heard this year. Right? Like among the politierati, it is almost it is just assumed that nobody can beat Donald Trump. And that that if Donald Trump runs, that he will lose to Biden again, and that anybody else, any other Republican, will beat Biden. Yeah, I bet you lunch. Okay. Dude, if that's really the way that it turned out, DeSantis won and then he lost to Biden, I'd be so stunned. But it wouldn't be the most stunning thing that I've, been wrong on, right? Because the world can change very quickly, right? This time of, well, no, not this time of year, but at the beginning of the year in 2020, it was a ridiculous thing to say that Donald Trump was going to lose the election. Like, the Democrat primaries had been just a complete disaster. And it looked like, Biden was starting to rise in the polls. And it's like, there's no way they're going to beat Donald Trump with that. He's just too popular. And then COVID happened. And he screwed the messaging up on COVID so badly I think that's what really killed him, right? Isn't that the guy? Well, no. So that is misinformation, in my opinion. So they removed some books from school. That's not the same as banning books. To call it banning books, I think is just fundamentally dishonest. Okay, there are some things that kids should not be reading. Okay, there should not be pornography in our school libraries. Okay. So removing pornography from our school libraries is not banning books. It's not. You can still go get it. You can still go down to Barnes and Noble, not that anybody buys books on Barnes and Noble. You can still get it from Amazon, okay? They're not banned, okay? It's just not in the school library because it was pornography. Is that I haven't had the time. No, but that's just how the media manipulates everybody, right? Yeah, your political system is just too much. I really think that these sorts of things hurt Democrats in the long run, because the Democrat Party really, they love to push this sort of thing, and then the media just kind of goes along with it, right? Well, because what's going to happen? Okay, the Democrats are saying, oh, he bans books. Okay, if he's starting to win the nomination, Joe Biden's going to be like, this is the guy that bans books. Okay, and then what's going to happen? There's going to be a debate. It's going to come up. They're going to bring it up. And then DeSantis is going to be like, well, okay, it was pornography. Here's what was in it. They're not even going to let me tell you, read this book out to you on national TV. Why should it be in our libraries, right? And then all of these people that are pushing that narrative just look like idiots. It really hurts them in the long run, right? But anyways, that's what that one's about. Why are you streaming, not trading? Well, I probably would have normally have taken a trade within all of that noise that we had a little bit earlier, but because we had some technical issues, we only just like 5 minutes ago got back into where I could do some stuff. And we're seeing quite a bit of washback from this post-McCarthy news. I don't know. It's like kind of a weird flow, don't you think, Uzi? Like, I think I would still like to go long, but sorry, long rates. It is kind of coming back, kind of. Well, I guess. Okay. I guess I'll try there. I'm not liking too much the flow, the way that prices moved. Let's not say the flow, the way that prices moved up here, how much it sucked back up and everything. But when I look at the order flows, like in ZN, hardly any buying at all on this pullback. So I may be dead wrong. This may like retrace all the way back up to 113 even, but that's about as good of a place as any as I'm gonna get. So I think I just have to go along with it. Okay, what's this with Sticks and Hammer? Interesting thing. So Ed Christensen saying it seems like a debt ceiling deal is almost done. And Sticks and Hammer says if it does not include the rescinding of the IRS expansion, McCarthy is an idiot and done politically. In your opinion, Nvidia exit liquidity today or mooch? Oh man, dude, I don't know. That one, the chip space has been perplexing to me. Not perplexing to me, but like, okay. AI is a big thing. Computing power is a big thing. Nvidia is top dog. So of course, Nvidia, in my opinion, over the last, let's say the entire post-COVID era, Nvidia has been like at the top of the list in terms of like the stock that I would expect to do the best, right? The question is like, what's the right price, right? Because it's so crazy, right? I'm actually, when you go back and you look at the chart and Nvidia like declined 50% after COVID, it was like, what? That's insane. It's insane that it dropped that much and then that it came back so hard. And so now you look at it, it's back at all-time highs. Can it really extend further now? I don't know. I mean, I think that the outlook for the tech industry kind of suggests that it could, but there's this other problem, which is that there's still a lot of economic projections out there that suggest that we are moving into a recession at the second half of the year. Sure doesn't feel like it today, but those estimates are still out there, right? If that's the case, a lot of the time the chip makers get hurt the most from that sort of stuff, you know? So you could see another 10-20% decline from Nvidia as a better location to get in potentially, right? So that's why I'm like, I really don't know if now is a good point to get into it or not. One thing I will say is that I really don't like getting involved in something, in a stock in particular, when it's the talk. You know, when it's the top headlines, usually not the best time to get into something. So we'll see. Nvidia is quite dependent on overseas production. Well, the issue is that yeah, production in chips is just not what we would like right now, at least not in video cards. Okay, like video cards continue to be crazy expensive, right? But that's the whole thing, is that they need the computing power. They need the computing power. So, you know, if Nvidia isn't able to produce as much as they want, you know, their prices just go up, they still make money, you know? Oh yeah. Okay, so you know, their growth ends up being 45% year over year instead of 50% year over year or something like that. Does that really keep you out of it? Now, related, I've really been keeping an eye on Intel, because Intel is working on making chips. They want to be able to make a lot of chips. You know, of course, they mostly do processors. Their video cards aren't very good yet, but a lot of that is drivers. Like they're working in that direction, you know? And so Intel stock has not been doing very well. They kind of flubbed the last generation compared to AMD, you know, so they're down. So if you wanted a value play in the chip space, Intel might be a good place to look. But here again, you run into the same issue. Is now the time to get involved in this chip space? I don't know. I don't know. Well, I am really not liking the way this is going, guys. Really not liking the way this is going. It started to go my way a little bit. It was looking okay, but it does look like they're going for the VWAP bounce, if not a complete retracement of the debt ceiling news. And not on much volume either, by the way, which is what's kind of frustrating me. I guess I probably should have assumed that it was a little bit too early. Like, probably the better time to take this would be at like closer to the S&P 500 open. So we never really went back and looked at all of the charts. But when we come over here to the volume profile and everything, and we look at ES, so yesterday, after hours, I mean, the S&P 500 extended quite a bit. Most of it retraced, but it extended quite a bit. And the thing is that we were getting more McCarthy comments and the NVIDIA earnings at the same time. So I don't know how much of that boost was from NVIDIA and how much of that boost was from McCarthy, you know? But there was that. Here you got the treasuries. I mean, man. So it's pretty hard to mistake what the trend in the treasuries has been this week, right? And it's been frustrating because at any point you've been sitting in this all week, you know, you get these big jumps right here on like headlines about the debt ceiling deal, right? So it's really hard to be along in it, but it just keeps going down and down and down and down, right? So I find those really frustrating, where it's like you look at the chart and it's like the clearest trend, but while you're in it, it seems like it's impossible to stay in it, you know? Hate that. By the way, here I had this, like, you know, I started setting up this chart, and I never finished the jigsaw one. I wanted a 1 minute interval. How come it never gave me that? So there was a little bit of a pullback down, and now they seem to be gravitating back towards 30. And I'm not really, with this one, I'm not really getting any kind of clues in the level 2 either about, like, if the book is too stressed or anything like that. It's just kind of... Yeah, see, I don't like that. That's really frustrating. So when I look at, like, this chart, my jigsaw chart compared to my NinjaTrader chart. Oh, I already had it on the right screen. Like, this does, you know, I can tell much better the extent of that move on my NinjaTrader. Sorry, yeah, on my NinjaTrader chart compared to my jigsaw one. This is why I hate the on a instrument that's as tight as Yen. I really hate using candles because it's just a bunch of tails and then you can't really see anything, right? That's why I just like it to be bar, high, low bar. And right back up there to the high, although there is some volume trading at 113 even. Oh, geez, this is... You know, I was like, wow, this is as good of a spot as any. The situation has not changed much at all. There's been more buying in the 30-year, but in the 10-year, hardly any buying. Right? So it's moving against me. It looks like the dollar is kind of been taking a refrain here because of this. So that could be related. But man, I sure would love to be long 375. instead of 377. Crap. Oh, what you can do. Not a whole lot of deltas. Well, yeah, like, I think the selling is... I think I probably took the trade too early, right? Like, that's the one thing I can see that I could have done differently is it had not been 45 minutes since the sell. It's just it had gotten back up and it kind of looked a little bit too high based on the range, and so I took it there. I probably should have waited. Mike Lee tweets, I will use every procedural tool at my disposal to impede a debt ceiling deal that does not contain substantial spending and budgetary reforms. I fear things are moving in that direction. If they do, that proposal will not face smooth sailing in the Senate. I don't think that Mike Lee would be able to prevent it from going through in the Senate. So I would just ignore him. I don't think I can hold on to this much longer, though, can I, guys? You know what? One of those things that can be really frustrating is, like, you'll get into a trade and you think that you've really got some good flows behind you, you know, and then, like, you really don't. It's like it's hard to even get 10 ticks in the micro treasury yield futures, right? And then you get in this other situation where there's really, like, the price is not really moving in the way that you would expect because of the news and whatnot, and it goes like 3 times further, right? Isn't that always the way it goes? That freaking far left tail, man, is just the bane of all traders. And that's what I'm experiencing right now. I was willing to go along with it on the theory that these flows would continue to sell because the market says the debt ceiling deal is all but a done deal. And that is not how it is moving. It completely retraced. And in fact, the 30-year is breaching highs. I have to bail. Frustrating. In fact, some of the volume that I'm seeing here in this area suggests I'm not the only one bailing there too. What's with that? I don't know. Sometimes, you know what might have caught me there is a lot of the times when we have a big impasse in the markets, like the debt ceiling, for instance, and then when that impasse gets done, you get like the initial move up, and then there's like this monster move against it that makes no sense. And you'll see people come in like on Twitter saying things that like kind of contradict the main headline and end up being nothing. Like, I remember that this really screwed me over after the trade deal was done, right? The trade war kind of ended. And then there was like this stop run back to the highs in the treasuries. And then in the end, like, it ended that day, I think, relatively high. And then on Monday, over the weekend, it came back down, and then it was all down from there. Right? That could be happening to us right now. But I continue to see on this that, like, I'm seeing buying flows come into the 30-year, but not so much some of the other ones. Well, I take that back. I mean, it is about a 10K net delta buying recovery, but it was very, very gently sloping up. So it was, that volume was spread out over a very wide range. I don't know. The other thing I have to consider now is, now that I took a big loss on that, if I should just sit down for the rest of the day. Lick my wounds. I don't know. What's going on in price kind of says to me no. But I still believe in the short. We're definitely getting to more of a volume node here at 0.2 like a little bit more sideways action here. When is the government deal thing going to take place? Well, so they're going to have to continue negotiating and put together a bill, and then it's still going to have to go through all the procedural hurdles in Congress. So it will probably be quite some time before a bill is passed, but it probably won't be market moving news by that time. So I think that in the next 2 days, you should probably expect to hear something suggesting that they have made a deal, right? Okay, so what I see going on right now is that the spread is flattening. Okay, so after a debt deal is passed, there's a very good argument that you will as a result of that start to see some quantitative tightening again, and that will hurt the equity indexes. Yes. And in the treasuries, you know, because the economy, the economic data is still stronger than we kind of think, except for manufacturing. And so I think that there's a really, really good chance that the treasury market continues to march up to 4% again, or rather the 10-year at 10%. Okay, so I've been looking at Ben Shapiro's tweets the past day or two, because he's been starting to talk about what he thinks about the Republican primary, and it's really obvious to me that he already has a horse in this race. Listen to what he says. The 2024 Republican primary is a contrast, to be sure. DeSantis will attack Trump on substance. Trump will attack DeSantis on personality. That's already fully obvious. We'll see which one Republican voters care about more. So DeSantis's attacks on Trump will be, he allowed COVID lockdowns, made Fauci the boss, told Georgia and Florida to shut down, and then shouted at Miami to my open, etc. Did nothing to stop the 2020 riots, didn't activate National Guard, did criminal justice reform with Kim K, didn't build the wall. I'm not actually sure that's the argument that DeSantis is going to make. I mean, I suppose those might be some of the criticisms that he'll make against Trump, but I'm not sure that those are going to be like his primary messages. Anyways, seems Trump's attacks on DeSantis are: his name is Rob, he has a bad personality. Here is an AI simulation of a Twitter Spaces, including DeSantis, Musk, Hitler, Soros, and Satan. DeSantis is too conservative on entitlements. Hey, wasn't Charlie Crist great? Yeah, come on. Ben definitely has a horse in the race, right? I just think it's funny. I think some of the political pundits, you can't help it. Like, if you know, I would expect somebody like Ben Shapiro to dislike Trump, right? I'm a little ADHD, a little bit more open. When Trump started doing all of this crazy stuff, I found it amusing. I was kind of like, well, this looks like the way it's going, so we're just going to go with it. Now I'm kind of like, well, we've been down that path. I didn't like it so much. And I don't think that he can win. So, and I really think when the primaries come down, that's probably going to be a more significant argument among the voting populace. Who can actually beat Biden, and people are going to say that Trump can't. Okay, so I'm just noting that there was a little bit of liquidity here in the 31 area that stopped them. I should note that we're just below sell side cost basis. Okay, here's the S&P 500 open. First impulse is actually down. You're gonna make me sweat it out, man. I'm a little frustrated by that move just because we got a good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ticks in ZN, and it barely moved for me in the micros because of the spread. Although there is some steepening here now on this pullback. And also, I'm a little frustrated when it seems like it's the dollar that's moving us primarily, So if the moves that we're getting in the treasuries are more related to demand coming from the dollar rather than expectations of higher interest rates in the future, that could really mess up my trading, right? I don't know if it messes up this trade in particular, but that's just the sort of conditions that are a little bit harder of a read for me. It's going to be better when it's just the flows coming into the treasury specifically. Okay, so that little spurt of volume was McCarthy on Fox News saying, "I'm not sure if we'll have a debt deal today." So that one was probably just the robots. The headline robots that don't know what's going on, because that's not, he's just talking time frame, not whether or not it's actually going to get done. I mean, that it's a possibility that it could happen today is good. Right? Okay. And now he's just reiterating the stuff that he had already told to reporters, that we made progress yesterday, etc., etc. Dude, oil is getting creamed here today. What's with that? Actually, the biggest winner today so far is wheat and corn again. Isn't that funny? Yeah, the S&P is selling here. What's with that? Oh, is this... Oh, wait. Is this the... buy the rumors, sell the news, and now that the debt ceiling limit is over, the concern is once again quantitative tightening, and so you sell all of the things. Ooh, see, I think I would have gotten that one wrong, NES, because like I'm expecting that to happen, but not today. Not like the first day that it seems like they've made a deal or something, you know? If we're already getting that flow today, that is very fascinating to me. I might need to rethink some things here. I mean, I think I still want to be long interest rates, but basically, I was expecting after a debt ceiling deal to see volatility contract significantly. And this move in ES contradicts that we are actually seeing an increase in volatility a little bit. I mean, I guess it's just the open, but I find that very concerning that the ES is selling off today. Cardi once again saying we will get the debt deal done. It really does seem to me that a default is off the table at this point, right? That ceiling deal will not solve all the problems it is. That's probably a message to Ted, to Mike Lee or whatever. I think what you're going to see happen with that is you know, like Lee is prone to do, he will kind of try and gum everything up, but you will have a large enough coalition of both Republicans and Democrats that are voting in on the deal that it's just not going to matter, because this is something that's probably likely to pass by like the vast majority of members. Actually, it would be kind of funny if more Democrats voted for it than Republicans. that would be kind of funny. I do think this move back up, because it was very strong in the 30-year. I don't know if this is the case, but one theory is that if the dollar is strong and dollars are being forced to come back to the United States from abroad, like we were talking about yesterday, you know, that's some of these smaller countries are having problems because they're not having enough dollars to pay their debts, right? It's all coming back to the United States. And if you bring it back to the United States, that pushes the treasuries up. Perhaps they're putting it into the 30-year. And that's why the 30-year came back up so strongly compared to the others. S&P 500 still selling kind of hard here. Watching 285. Actually 27. Like our estimate of buyer cost base is 27. So probably somewhere in there between that that pivot that you saw and 27, we're gonna want to watch the liquidity and see how it reacts. Trap seller price there. I'm really frustrated today still, because I mean, even though this one is starting to go my way and everything, because I feel quite strongly at the moment that interest rates are probably headed back to 4%, or rather said a different way, I think that we will see 4% on the 10-year yield again this year. And the problem is the way it's working is like it's going to happen and I'm just not going to be able to hold it, you know? You don't care what happens after you close the platform? Well, what I'm saying, NASDAQ Technologies, is that I want to go long interest rates and just hold it for like a week or two, you know, maybe even a month. It might take a month to get there. Because I wouldn't be able to hold it for the month. I would have to roll over at the end of the month, but right. Like that's the trade I've been looking for. The trade I've been looking for is debt ceiling resolves, interest rates shoot higher. And like the thing is the way that this is playing out, it's giving me lots of indications that is very possible, if not likely, but that it's going to be confusing and it's going to be a ride the whole way, right? I mean, that's often the way these things play out, and what I'm seeing right now really suggests to me that it ends up playing out that way because of correlations with other instruments, particularly the dollar. I mean, I guess I should have expected that from the beginning, because this whole year the dollar has been kind of a pivotal player in everything that's been going on, hasn't it? Yeah. Now, that said, I'm not seeing a whole lot of urgency from sellers to push it here. They did get through a little bit of liquidity because we're talking about 28.5, and I'm kind of sitting here like, well, I would like to see them get through 29.5, 29 really easily, so that they can just plow through that. But that's not the way it's going. Yeah, they're in fact. It's a little too tepid to say yet, but Uzi, you might be onto something. There might be a little bit of absorption. So like right there at 29, when they ticked down, they actually stacked a little bit. That 28.5 and that 29 kind of puffing themselves up a little bit. Okay, S&P 500 seems to be recovering the downside now. You might get one of those two big contradicting candles sort of patterns in ES right there. Yeah. When I was a chart trader, that was my favorite setup. Not saying it's going to go up, but it was my favorite setup. Okay, so 700 at 29, that's okay. And the 700 stack, that's okay. That's in line with what we want. I wouldn't say it's optimal, but it's in line. But we still, you know, it might be tough for them to push through 28.5. Somebody on the selling side is going to have to really step over, right? Do you have a book to learn from you? Well, so I have a order flow video series. So if you go to my channel, there's a playlist for the order flow video series. It's like 5 or 6 videos long. So like there's a lot of information in that. If you go to speculatorseth.com/strategy.html, there is also a pretty extensive PDF document that is quite detailed and goes into really like the I really like what I wrote in that. Let's just put it that way. Okay. Now, if you want to see where I got my information from, I think the best place to start is Trades, Quotes, and Prices, Markets Under the Microscope by Jean-Philippe Bouchot. Is this like John A. Donier, right? Is on it too. Yeah. Donier and Gold. And that is just a top book. Okay, so like, we haven't done this in a while, but like, what is the difference between Seth and like other people that you're seeing on YouTube? Well, look at where Seth is getting his information, because I didn't come up with this stuff, right? I'm just taking information that was already out there, and I was able to apply it to retail trading in ways that other people weren't, right? But when you look at the books, like the stuff that I'm getting my information from, like look at this freaking book, man. Like, it is hard math, integrals, etc. When you get to the end of a chapter, there's further reading. Look at all of the references that they have. Like, it is insane. That's just one chapter. Like for one chapter, they list like more than a dozen empirical studies that you could go and read. Something that would probably, each one of those probably take you an afternoon to read and fully understand, right? Like, that's the difference. is what we're doing to try and understand order flow is based on real serious empirical research at top universities. Okay. That's the difference. It's up to you to take that information, extend it further, develop an edge for it. I can't guarantee you that you're going to be able to develop an edge from it based off of that. But my proposition is that you stand a much better chance of doing that successfully when you start with an empirical approach that is based on verified information. rather than looking for the guy that makes the biggest claims and is the biggest guru, whatever, right? Okay, so I should probably clear my DOM here. They did not push below 28.5 yet. But I'm not seeing anything too odd in the flow. Maybe a little bit of liquidity getting rolled up down there. Oh, actually, there's a little bit of fight here now. Oh, Fed's Parking is going to be speaking. Sorry, let me come back here. Okay, Parking, yes. Top of the hour, pending home sales. And then a 10:30 Eastern Time, Collins. And then at 9, Kansas City Fed. That Kansas City Fed number is usually not. People don't pay attention to that one, though. I think we're okay to try and hold this. I do not like that fight in this area, though. Let's see. Well, they weren't able to really hold an offer there, but it doesn't look like they're having too much of trouble getting orders to come through at 28.5 now. I'm not 100% sure what to think of that. I'm kind of leaning towards that. I would rather not see fighting in this location, rather just see it go through, right? I don't think it necessarily has to mean that the trade is over, but I don't think that it's the optimal action. Yeah, that'd make me nervous if it does suggest that there is another player getting involved in this location, doesn't it? The reason why I'm a little hesitant about it is it seems a little bit too tactical. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm a passive buyer and I'm really gonna buy it, I'm not gonna push aggressively against it, right? The guy that's gonna fight it and play this game here is more like a speculative hedge fund sort of a player, I think, right? And I think that the person that's selling, there probably are some hedge funds that are selling it, but I think that there may also be some larger kind of time frame players. Okay, that's a better take of 28.5. I still haven't seen it get over 700. That just looks like the robot straightening across it now. I think all this talking may be me trying to convince myself of something or comfort myself, because I don't know if I'm starting to feel a little nervous. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Would admitting that I feel a little bit nervous make me more nervous? I don't know. And I'm still seeing the volumes, the deltas relatively neutral. Okay, there's a 5-year kind of pulled down there a little bit. Oh my God, are they saying that we could get the deal at any time? So that's because those guys are negotiating without him, right? In other words, when we get the deal, it might be news to him. It's still not. And you see, he is trying to push it. right? Like it didn't just like, oh, it went over 28.5, tick back up. No, it was, I've got to clear everything at 29 and make sure that it ticks away from this price. The one good thing about this might be that if the sellers do end up winning here and it ticks lower, there could be, you know, a little bit of unhappy longs, right? Nvidia didn't sell off as much as you expected. Well, but it did pull back though. That's good, right? Ooh, S&P 500 is still fighting, isn't it? I didn't realize. I kind of, when I saw that bar and then this other one was like starting to go really long, I kind of stopped looking at it, but they came all the way back to the lows and it's just been chopping the last 5 minutes, hasn't it? If the sellers wind up trapped here, it could be, well, yeah, I'm not sure if there's that many people actually trapped. Like by my read, it might be 5,000 on each side. That would be like short-term traders trapped. You know what I mean? Or rather, what I should say is that I would think in this situation that the higher time frame players will, in the end up mattering more, right? Okay, so we saw some orders at 28 that time. Given how desperately there seems to be some buyers fighting it here at 28.5, their ability to clear it over and over again is not a good thing for them, right? And we've done it enough times now that we're in one of those situations where the market could become sensitive to those small 06. So there's 800. So that's a lot better. Seems like in this market, once you get over 700, it's a lot easier for a price to stay offered, right? There you go. Oh, only 222 for 28, huh? Well, now that buyer's cost basis, oh, it's not the buyer's cost basis that I have, it's the buyer's break-even point. The buyer break-even point is quite a bit lower than what I had it before. But when I first started looking at it, it was more around 27. Now it's at 25.5. Okay, there's a big order at 27.5 standing in the way now. I don't know. So going back to that earlier theory that I was proposing, that because of the sort of tactical way in which it seems like the buyers are fighting over this location, I would expect it to be more of a speculative player. But then when I think about who would be buying here, though, I think that it would have to be people that are moving their money from other currencies into dollars and buying treasuries, right? Okay. Well, that's what I wanted to see, so I still feel kind of uncertain about it, but I think we're back to where was like my original position. 7.4. Yeah, we're back to that. Well, 30-year just took a little bit of a jump there. Oh wait, are we gonna? Oh, this could be. So here's another thought for you. Look at the spread. So we had, off of the debt news, we flattened substantially. Now we're starting to see some steepening, especially in the 2 and 10, right? What if this reverses and steepens? How likely are we to steepen here? Well, higher rates and equity indexes struggling, I think you could see steepening. Because that's like the, oh yeah, the rates are going higher, but they're gonna have to reverse very quickly after that because it'll cause a recession, right? I don't know, that's kind of more of a flattening kind of setup though, isn't it? We'll just keep it on our radar because I did see the 30-year kind of lead there on that last little leg. Okay, now it's starting to really feel like the seller is in control and the buy side market makers are pulling out of the way. I'm not necessarily seeing a flow like we were saying earlier, where it's like if we get through this area, you might have some buyers that are really pissed. I'm not seeing those guys like bail and stop out yet, but the market makers are definitely like jumping out of the way now. And I would also agree with Uzi that Delta isn't impressive, but the Deltas all over the place today haven't been impressive. It is a little odd, isn't it? Yeah, crude is getting creamed, right? Like in this situation, I would be expecting to see Deltas more along the lines of like 30K, you know? Maybe that ends up happening by the end of the day, but to see only like changes of 10K both up and down in the treasuries is definitely not the flow that I was expecting, right? Now this one's interesting because we are coming back to the 28.5, so I think that your smart money concept guys would probably say, oh, that was a liquidity grab, right? But was it really though? Because like the market makers just pulled out of the way on that one. Like market makers pulled out of the way on that one, and it seems like the market makers are pulling out of the way on the offer as well, letting it come back up. It seems like the treasury and the yields are a little bit more sensitive here because when we're at 377, oh, maybe not. Maybe a basis point. Well, I might be a little bit too focused on it now. Like this might just be the natural pullback. Like, yeah, the 28 is kind of turning into a magnet, isn't it? That's because you said something. You shouldn't have said anything, Matt Uzi. Somebody heard you and they said, okay, this is where we're going to play with everybody then. Iceberg offer at 29. I don't know. When you look at the volume profile, it's a pretty disorganized profile through this entire area. So it might be too early for us to call it that 28.5 is going to become the point of control. But at the moment, it sure seems like it, huh? There's definitely been more wrangling around that price than anything else so far. It looks like the market maker is going to let buyers have their day for a little bit. It's all Polsky, yeah. Now the thing is the market makers starting to have a little bit more power again is kind of more what I was expecting. Like, again, remember I was saying, like, I was expecting volatility to contract after the debt ceiling really resolved itself. I think I'm gonna go say that probably the debt ceiling issue is resolving itself, and while you will probably continue to see flows come off of those headlines, that's probably not the most important thing in the market anymore, right? But the thing that kind of made me wonder about that is the S&P 500 having such an ugly sell on the open. Oh, and on this pullback, it's also correlated with a move in the dollar. It's not really matching up though with like the Japanese yen so much. Here's Barkin speaking. Sometimes I feel like I get a little bit too keyed in. I feel like I'm a little bit too keyed in right now. The viewers, especially new viewers, probably really like that, but I don't like it when I get like that because I can often miss a good exit from that, right? So all we got from Barkin there was the labor market is quite tight, and it seemed like the market really reacted to that. But just keep in mind, those Fed speakers have been hawkish. So off of that 28.5, we were really focused on the battle over there, and if one side won or the other side won, if it would like really move in one direction off of that. What I'm seeing so far right now kind of suggests no. So I think that may have just been two big guys coming together and hitting at each other, and higher time frame players. I'm not so sure if they're really going to be that instrumental in where it goes next. That really it will come down to the next set of flows, right? Allow a price line on the delta indicator. Well, you could write one that puts it for you. I think that the way you'd want to do it is to make an indicator that includes the cumulative delta and adjusts and just draws a line at whatever the cumulative delta is and adjusts it on the fly, rather than trying to put another indicator on top of it. It is kind of annoying when you're trying to compare where the cumulative delta was in the past relative to where it is right now. But this again is where I'm coming back into. This is a situation where focusing too much on existing positions that might get washed out on too big of a move in one direction is probably not the most important thing right now. The issue is probably, in my mind, is more, okay, so we did see some pushback at 28.5. Why? What was that block trader doing? Is it because of money coming into the dollar? I don't know. I mean, but the dollar came back there. That's the weird thing about it, is that like when the dollar came up here, so this move right here, if we're looking at my dollar at the bottom of the screen, this move up right here was when the treasuries were like rebounded hard. And then this was the pullback. But now that the dollar is going down, we're starting to see the treasuries buy. So now between this one and this one, the correlation switched. So, in other words, we have some evidence to suggest to us that the dollar is a major contributing factor to the puzzle here, but it's not giving us a whole lot to work with in terms of like what's really going on and where it's going to go. The liquidity is thick on both sides here now. Liquidity providers a little bit. Well, okay, there's an iceberg at 113 even. Shouldn't be too surprised if it's an even number though. That trade ends up being one of the bigger changes in cumulative delta this morning, though, on a single bar, isn't it? Oh, is the S&P about to break new lows? It's close. You could be seeing some flight to safety risk coming over in here too, perhaps. Yeah, it's nice to easily compare. Well, in terms of like, you know, managing the trade and knowing how well it's going and if it's really going to continue through or not, you know, seeing the net change in cumulative deltas is really important, right? It's starting to seem to me that too much is going on right now for us to sort it out, you know? Like there's a lot of things going on, and so it's just kind of starting to make the order flow picture look a little fuzzy, you know? It may eventually like resolve and go really clearly in to the downside is what I would think, but I can't really say that as confidently anymore, just because the flows look really confusing to me. You know, or rather, you know, we got the downturn, or at least push back down off of those highs that we were looking for. I don't know if I can really say with much confidence what it's going to do next. I would think that they let the sellers have their you know, their push again, but those sellers really actually out there active and willing to push it back down to say the lows? I don't know. U.S. Supreme Court rules against EPA in wetlands regulation challenge. Morning, Jake. Welcome back. Okay, well. There it is. You can see those points where the liquidity is kind of rolling out in front of it, and it gets above 2,000 again at 30. Iceberg at 30.5 now. That might change things. Yeah, it didn't take too much for them to clear 30, at least for one time. You know, something that I kind of started to see on the upside and that I'm starting to see on the downside too, is that it seems like the market makers are more willing to take fills now. So that could clamp down on volatility a little bit, yeah. You know what else though? We are kind of starting to get that pushback kind of behavior again, and this time it's a little bit higher. It was at 28.5 before, and now it's around 30. You know, like it happens when you get those like 22,000, 2,500 level bids. Well, I've been drinking a lot of water this morning to try and help my system flush out, and I haven't had to blow my nose or cough much at all, so now I need to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. Okay, so a little bit of a pushback against me again, but if I'm expecting the volatility to start to die down here a bit, like, look, the book is getting thicker. Ah, they've added bids every step of that up there. Any idea why yields are getting so high? Well, because if there's not going to be a huge disaster over the debt ceiling, then the economy is probably still in an okay place. And the chances of the Federal Reserve having to raise interest rates again in June or over the summer are significantly higher. Right? Okay. So Collins at the bottom of the hour is going to be a fireside chat at a university. So that could also be something that we could get a little bit of movement here. They didn't really seem to care about Barkin though. I was just seeing some headlines here on Twitter about like the Nvidia thing, and they're saying that a lot of why Nvidia was going so high wasn't because of the earnings were so good necessarily, so much as that their guidance was also very positive. So I'm having a hard time getting myself to like pull back and calm down a little bit, but this is kind of starting to look like that the volatility is maybe contracting a little bit, and that the market makers are a little bit more in charge in playing games with people now. So if that is the case, then hopefully I can just hold this for a few days. It's a little frustrating though, because if I had been able to wait and still taken, just not taken the first trade, then I would have been quite happy with the results. See this behavior here on the chart. Quick move down, quick move up, quick move down. Yeah. That in my view is not the signs of large meta orders driving the market. That is market makers screwing with people in a situation where the market makers know that there's probably going to be a lot of people that want to come in and be active in the market, but actually there doesn't appear to be significant larger time frame business transacting anymore. Yeah, Shockwave leaves Nvidia trading like it's a penny stock. Well, it turns into one of those high price, low float kind of stocks, doesn't it? Well, now here's something that I hadn't noticed before that seems kind of significant and we maybe missed. So when I look at it on the 5-year, it's been buying this whole time. ZB has been following the price the most in terms of cumulative delta. ZN is kind of a mirror of that, but slightly biased to the upside. So here again is where it kind of looks to me like there's a steepener kind of trade going on here. Because you see more buying in the 5-year. For me, though, it's probably time for me to try and, again, calm down, not hyper-focus on the movement as much. It's concerning robots. No. So somebody in Discord was like, oh, Matt has been going around looking to work with other people and stuff. It sounds to me, I could be, because like, again, I feel bad because I like Mike, or sorry, not Mike, what the hell? It'd be like, oh, speculator Sean, who? No. Matt seems like a really good guy. I'm not particularly a fan of how he trades, but like whatever, he seems like he's a nice guy. He'd be a guy that I'd be willing to talk to and do stuff with. It sounds like that he's been having some trouble and that he's going back into that, research and learning kind of mode, which is really good, right? And so somebody was saying, oh, well, would you be willing to do something? Of course. And anybody in the trading space, as long as they're not doing things that I think would get you in trouble with the FEC, like having testimonials that make profit claims that are not indicative of the average user's results, for instance, right? That's something that I've had people that wanted to collaborate with me and I couldn't do it because of that. But otherwise, totally willing to work with people. I don't know if Matt would actually be interested, though. That was just one of his followers saying, hey, would you be? Now the counter to that is that because they were saying that Matt was doing order flow stuff. If Matt wants to learn order flow, what he should really do is he should watch my videos on order flow, and he should download my strategy guide at speculatorseth.com/strategy.html. And that would give him a really good base based on, the science behind order flow and market microstructure. You will shit on every one of his ideas like you shit on ours, or you'll play nice to get. I don't know. Like the issue, and I'm not saying I think that it would be like this with Matt, but the issue that I run into when just talking to traders in general is that people want to believe in things that they've been told by people online, and they base their entire trading strategy on that. And I'm kind of more like, we need to rely on empirical data first, and the things that we can get from the empirical data are important, but they're also quite limited. And a lot of what we do here, like what I've been doing this whole session, is really more just like coming up with theories for what might be driving the action, and then looking for things that might confirm or reject some of those theories, right? So not everybody's into that. Like I would bet that most of Matt's audience, if they were listening to me give that kind of play-by-play of the order flow, would probably find it a little grating. You got to the point where tradeaholics meetings are helpful. Yeah, it's true. It's totally true. You know, the thing that I really like about Matt is that I never saw him present himself as like, I'm the guru, I've made so much money from this, and you should just do everything that I say, and everything that I say is unquestionable. We just saw a little bit of order flow. I think it might have been from some head speakers, but I wasn't quite able to sort out what that is. I'm not sure if that was actually significant. Look at this. Well, he does use clickbait thumbnails, and that is something that really grates on me, and that I don't do, but it's not a standard that I think it would be fair to try and hold everybody else up to, you know, because it's not like explicitly against the rules or explicitly wrong, and it does definitely help your YouTube, so I can't blame anybody that does it, right? But it does annoy me. Right. He fishes for viewers, but he doesn't do what most trading guys do, which is, you should do what I say because I'm an authority. His channel has always been more like, I'm just a trader and you can come along for the journey with me if you want, right? Which is kind of what my channel started out as too, right? And I still tried to get away from that I'm the guru sort of a thing, right? I want you to trust in the data and the information rather than the person. And that's the thing that I find so frustrating is I can't seem to, you know, when I run into your regular traders on Reddit or whatever, I can't seem to convince them of that. They are just so focused on who was the guy that made the most money in the past, and I want to copy them. And you can't do trading like that, but they don't listen. I don't know, man. Are you still seeing relatively volatile action? Okay, I just heard on the News Squawk another comment saying the debt ceiling deal will probably come by tomorrow afternoon, which is kind of what I was guessing based on everything else that we had heard earlier. I don't know if that's why the treasuries just tick down another 2 ticks or what, but how can he go about pulling order flow data for Python? Well, so you can either write something that will connect directly to the API. So like if you're using Rhythmic, you connect directly to Rhythmic API Plus. So you'd probably have to write the connector and all that sort of stuff. Or you can get it through an existing platform, which is probably cheaper because you have to pay for API Plus, right? But if you have NinjaTrader, then you can write an indicator that every time you get data, it forwards it to Python in some way. Because it's Python, probably the most efficient way to do that would be with a socket. So there is somebody out there that wrote something that you can utilize that basically passes the information from NinjaTrader in C# to Python with a socket. So I just heard something that was a little contradictory because I've been hearing that they're supposed to be working 24/7 to get this debt ceiling deal done and everything. But I just heard from one of the negotiators, Graves, that there's no plans to meet yet today. That probably changes, but maybe it's a fluid situation. I don't know. Is delay a concern there? Oh, well, if like a few milliseconds matters to you, then that would introduce a few milliseconds, but it's about the fastest way that you can do it. No. So the negotiators aren't taking a week off, but it appears that a lot of representatives are going home for the 3-day weekend. So they should get a deal here, but it's gonna be a little bit of a stressful thing for legislators to get everything through before the June 1st cutoff date. They probably have more time than that, but yeah, if you do it in TT, you're probably still going to want to pass it by a socket. Like that's where I'm getting. So, like the bigger thing here is if you want to do high frequency trading and you really want to be competitive with it, you probably need to have a co-located server, and you probably need your Python or C++ or whatever it is connecting directly to the data provider. Having a middleman might not be too competitive. But even then, if you do all of that, you might not be competitive, right? I would probably approach it more as a project that like you could learn some things that might be able to assist in your discretionary trading and so forth, right? Because, you know, a lot of that stuff, where you're at in the queue really matters. And so I know it's a tough thing. Markets are a tough thing, right? Because markets are very competitive. By the way, that dollar is starting to look like a pretty clear head and shoulders sort of a pattern, isn't it? Nick Tumeros quoting Susan Collins here at the Fireside Chat. While inflation is still too high, there are some promising signs of moderation. I believe we may be at or near the point where monetary policy can pause raising interest rates. Okay. Oh dear, did we lose our... It looks like I bumped the fan yesterday and it wasn't pointing at the camera, so it overheated. I think we should be okay now, though. Yeah, for high frequency, I'd need at the very least a co-located server, but I'm not concerned about that for now. Yeah, and the other thing is that whatever you build on the Python side will still be good, right? So you can, if you build things right, you can just replace that part where you get it from a socket with getting it directly from the data provider, right? And then using Python itself is another bottleneck, but again, that's when you're like stressing over milliseconds or microseconds, frankly. You know, when I worked for the bank, you know, we were measuring microseconds, and that was where like you had to actually look at like how the instructions were being run through the processor and things like that to sort out where the latency might be coming from, right? Yeah. Then you would move to C++ or Rust. Really, if you want to be the fastest C or assembly, there were some processes at the bank that ended up having to be written in assembly. So this is like a really advanced topic that a lot of programmers never get into. But there are certain things about the way that you write things in C that can influence how the compiler translate those instructions to assembly, that you can take advantage of to make things faster. Like the classic example is loop unrolling. So if there's a situation where you have to use a loop and loop over a set of variables, right? Well, when you do that, you have to add an iterator to the register, and then each loop, it has to replace the variables and things like that. So if you don't do that and you just reference the variables directly, it's a lot faster. So if it's like a loop and you know that like there's always going to be 10 items in that loop, you can just unroll the loop, and something that would be like really ugly and like big no for most programmers, but when you're going for performance, that can actually make a difference, especially if that's a loop that runs a lot. So there was a few things like, but that's like at the top level. That was for like a trading system that connected directly to the exchange, and high frequency trading firms were using it, and so literally microseconds mattered, right? And I was only privy to that stuff because the system I was working on at the time was what measured the latency within the internal systems. That was one of the more interesting things I did. The stuff that I do at healthcare exchange is never quite as interesting as that. They're more interesting from an organizational, like, how do you make a code base that everybody can work on and is really flexible and those sorts of things, because you end up working with a lot of systems that are still in their infancy and can kind of be hard to manage in those ways. And so, and I'm a little bit better at that, but it's not as interesting, I think, as some of the really, really nuanced, hardcore C kind of stuff. Okay, apparently House Democrats are meeting at noon. So an hour and 15 minutes from now. Meanwhile, you're really seeing the volatility die out in the Treasury. So yeah, for Python to become a bottleneck, you'd already have to have a nice strat that works. Yeah. I mean, if I was an experienced C# C++ programmer, then I would encourage you to go and do that first, because the transition from Python to C++, transitioning your strategy from Python to C++ can be painful, right? Especially since, Python has all of these wonderful machine learning libraries that do all of this work for you, and those don't exist in C. And so you're like literally rewriting machine learning libraries and stuff like and there are a lot of big guys out there, like people like Citadel and stuff that are dealing with that problem, right? So, but if you're new to programming, you don't want to go down that route. Just use Python. Yeah, I'm seeing that same headline. House Democrats are meeting at noon via two sources cited by a Washington Post reporter on Twitter. I love how they don't say who the reporter was so that we don't all go and follow them. Well, they're from the Washington Post, so that's probably for the best. Yeah, learning from scratch, just use Python. Okay, well, there was a little fall out of the liquidity hole at 30 and a push back towards the bottom of this range. We've got like what, 15 minutes left to the stream. Well, I can't make any promises. Every time that we come to a situation like this and I'm like, I'm gonna try and hold it, and then I get scared out by the end of the day. Okay, well, let's come and look at the calendar, because we do have, like, tomorrow I'm gonna need to roll over the main instrument, right? Micros, it's a different story. Well, actually, no. Yeah, micros is a different story because the last day of the month is Wednesday. Okay. Then on top of that, tomorrow we have what? Core PCE price index. Okay, so a really important inflation number tomorrow. That's something we have to consider. It's a bank holiday on Monday. Wednesday, we got Chicago PMI. And we do get non-farms next Friday. I don't know. I might be able to hold it through Friday, but I don't know about over the weekend. Because it's like you hold it over the weekend, then you have Tuesday and Wednesday, and then you're going to have to roll it anyways, right? Looks like the S&P 500 is recovering. So if ES is able to retrace that huge, ugly open, that could maybe be supportive of higher rates. The other thing, though, that we have to consider is, like, what more flows are we going to see today? I don't know, because it definitely looks like the flows have kind of slowed down. Although it's still slightly biased to the buy side in the 5-year. So I guess I can't say that this is gonna be the one that I'm gonna try and hold for weeks and weeks and so forth, but probably will have to manage it after the stream, which I hate doing, but probably I'm okay. That's a zero hedge. Despite glitchy start, DeSantis Twitter Spaces launch showed why he's a good. I haven't heard a whole lot about the DeSantis Spaces thing. I wasn't able to catch it. It's not actually getting that much discussion online. It's a little concerning for DeSantis, in my opinion. Pending home sales disappoints in April as mortgage rates top 7%. Oh, that's interesting. So this story, which was posted around the market open by Tyler Durden, is saying that they're still at an impasse. They're saying June 9th is the X date. House Democratic Caucus is livid over the state of negotiations, with many rank-and-file Democrats feeling they're about to be asked to vote on a package that will satisfy Republican demands and while getting very little of what they want in return. Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the whole thing, is that you want more spending, and the whole purpose of this is to reduce spending. So yeah, you're probably not going to get a whole lot from it, are you? That does. Okay, so what we do need to think about with that, though, then, is that there could be some volatility in the markets an hour from now, right? To expedite the issue, once an agreement is reached, McCarthy refuses to waive a rule that allows members 72 hours to review the text of the agreement. As the punch bowl summarizes, it's possible that a deal won't emerge until next weekend, June 3rd through 4th. After that, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer will need to scramble to get any package to the floor before default. No, I'm still of the opinion, based on what we've heard this morning, that we're likely to get a deal before the end of tomorrow. Which would be okay on timeline wise. I'm just noticing that there's a couple of guys on the micros that were willing to transact there for some reason. I'd say though that it's kind of starting to form quite a tight range, and a random one at that. Another thing that we get is that, usually after the stream going into like the London market close, the flows tend to shift. So is it possible we could see more selling flows today? Yeah, it is. I don't know if it's so high that it's like, I've got to hold this though. But I think I'll probably keep it for the next 5 minutes and then decide what to do about it after that. Moody's says dollar dominance will continue for another decade. Okay, News Squawk says nothing more treacherous than a market driven by the indefinite amount of ways a politician can say they are optimistic. Yes, I don't know about that. Yeah, I find this so weird. Yesterday and the day before, when McCarthy came out and said positive things, the market really responded quite positively to them, when I felt that what they were saying was kind of like really meant nothing. And then today, when he came in and basically said that like there was major progress yesterday and that a deal is almost certain to get done now and that it's very close. Now all of a sudden people in the market are skeptical about it. What's with that? I'm gonna tweet that. To answer my own question, probably the market is being driven more by correlations and other flows than it is the actual news, because now that the news is past, it's like, you know, okay, now all of these other flows that have been like holding back can come through. That looked like a good tick. My charts over here on Ninja Trader, I don't know if this is just how tight the market has been, but like, look, I'm getting some of these bars where like there's no bar actually there. So like it really, really, really has slowed down. Okay, well, I think that's my time to go. So I think I'll just have to manage this. I might close it soon, but we'll see what happens. Either way, it's going to be a net loser day, but only by like $15. So it's okay. I wish that it had gone differently, but all right. Yeah, see ya. I will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay